In 1987, my mother had horrible headaches. I accompanied her to all of her appointments. I was her official interpreter. It was before the Americans with Disabilities Act, so providing sign language interpreters was unheard of, especially in a medical setting. During the countless appointments, I treasured our time in the waiting room when Mom and I had time to chat. I cherished talking to Mom. It was partly talking to her, but also seeing myself sign. Having deaf parents, I was taught American Sign Language as a first language. I loved ASL so much. Some hearing people love to hear themselves talk. Well, I was a girl who loved to see herself sign. Just as dancers practiced in the mirror, I practiced signing in the mirror. I appreciated the beauty and lyrical movement of each sign. At this appointment, we would find out the diagnosis for my mother's headaches. Mom and I were shown into a small room. As a 12-year-old, I felt the coldness of that room. We all sat down. We were positioned in a pyramid, and I was seated at the top. The doctor grabbed the chart. His head faced down at the desk. He began to speak with a very heavy Indian accent without making eye contact. Mom noticed his mouth moving and looked at me. I tilted my head over in his direction. Mom was waiting. I leaned a bit closer. Nothing sounded intelligible. I quickly thought, perhaps he needed a translator. The doctor continued. I squinted. Mom looked from the doctor to me. I heard the word tests. I faced Mom, nodded, and signed tests. The doctor flipped some pages. I waited. Mom waited. The doctor said, found. I turned my eyes and hands to Mom. Tests. Finished. Found. Mom's body leaned forward. The doctor continued. I heard results. I sat sternly as I delivered the results to Mom. There was a moment of silence. I heard, operate. Multiple lines creased my forehead. Mom turned her eyes to me. The doctor's words pierced my ears. I froze. The doctor stopped talking, looked up at my mother. My mother's face told the doctor she was waiting. The doctor looked at me. My hands were in midair. I had not found the right signs yet. He looked me in the eye. Tell her. He paused. I moved my head slowly to look into his eyes, thinking, was I really going to have to tell her? The sign for tell her is placing an index finger at the chin and then moving it to point toward the person spoken to. He spoke slower and stretched his pronunciation of each syllable. Tell her she will need to have brain surgery. My heart sunk. Seconds passed. My mother signed What say? My eyes burned. The sign she used for what say was placing the index finger at the chin, tapping it a few times as if to receive what was being spoken. Again, my mother signed, "What say?" I turned to face her. I wished I could run away. I pointed to the doctor and spoke verbally. He. I continued to sign, but now without my voice. Say. With my index finger on my own chin, I moved it toward Mom. It felt like I was pointing a loaded gun directly at her. The doctor nodded to me. Go on. I forced a swallow and continued.
You must. Surgery. Brain. I dropped my hands to my sides. My mother heaved a sigh and held her forehead in her hands. I was 12, not even a teenager yet. What was this doctor thinking, giving a child this kind of responsibility? What was my mother thinking, giving her daughter this kind of responsibility? What was I thinking? Probably just another day. As usual at these settings, I was calm on the outside, but inside I was scared. I was scared and worried. I wanted to ask Mom what it all meant, but I knew she didn't know because I was the one telling her. I wanted someone to be prepared with the information and inform me, hopefully with some thought as to how to soothe my fears. I wanted Mom to hug me. I wanted someone to realize that they had just relied on a child to tell their mother, "You are going to have surgery." We went home. Nothing more was said about it. On the day of the surgery, I went to school. I wondered why I wasn't needed to help translate. Did Mom send me to school because she realized the seriousness of the situation? Perhaps she thought if there were complications, it would be in my best interest not to be there. As it turned out, Mom had a blood clot and several veins in the front part of her brain. It had been there since birth. Mom recovered well. When she was brought home from the hospital, her face was bruised and her hair had been shaved. She settled into her bed to rest. I gave her a gentle hug, and my cheek brushed lightly against hers. Her exponentially soft skin on mine allowed me to exhale a sigh of relief.